I'm going to move that in application number SP 2020-SP-040 by the Islamic Seminary Incorporated under Section 3-C03 and 8-301 of the Fairfax County Zoning Ordinance to permit a place of worship, a religious assembly, located at 12208, 12212, and 12214 Braddock Road in Fairfax, Virginia. Tax map reference 67-1, double parentheses, 1, 22, 23, and 24. I move that the Board of Zoning Appeals adopt the following resolution. Whereas this captioned application has been properly filed in accordance with the requirements of all applicable state and county codes and with the bylaws of the Fairfax County Board of Zoning Appeals, and whereas following proper notice to the public, a public hearing was held by the board on today's date, April the 27th, 2022, and whereas the board has made the following findings of fact: that the owner of the property is the applicant, that the present zoning is RC and WS, and that the total area of the lot is approximately 6.65 acres, whereas the BZA has reached the following conclusions of law: that the applicant has presented testimony indicating compliance with the general standards for special use permits as set forth in Section 8-006, and the additional standards for this use as contained in other sections of the zoning ordinance outlined in the staff report. Now therefore be it resolved. I would like to move to approve this application. I appreciate all of the testimony received so far today, and I appreciate in particular the time and attention that the applicant took working with the staff on, it sounds like, multiple, site iterations and multiple iterations of your architecture. These special permits in the RC require particular care to minimize, avoid, and mitigate impact to the character of the surrounding area, to the natural environment, to the watershed, and we give all of that special consideration, and also the comprehensive plan requirements that the access for the use is oriented to an arterial roadway. So I'm going to go through each one of these in my recommendation for the approval and why I think the applicant has met that. So this is oriented towards Braddock Road, which is a minor arterial. I appreciate all of the, again, the work that has gone into trying to make sure that the people who are visiting this facility, use the, the adjacent roadways appropriately. There is, I appreciate people might do what they're going to do, but there has been sufficient testimony, not just from this congregation, but also the people who currently share a facility with them on Cherokee Avenue in Alexandria, which I frequent that area a lot, and it is very congested, about what excellent neighbors they have been and the care that they already take to minimize impacts of their parking and the use of their congregation on that site. That the size and scale will not adversely impact the character of the area. Mitigating is not avoiding entirely, and looking through the staff report and hearing the testimony, the size of the minarets has already been reduced, and having these facilities in residential areas in the RC will not mean that you see nothing. What I do appreciate is that what will be visible will be beautiful. I really believe that. I think that the attention that has been given to the layout, that this is the best layout for the site. It has been, sited appropriately, pushed back as far as it can be. The minarets have been reduced. The entire architecture of this facility, with the variegated masonry banding, the use of color, the tiles, the way that the fenestration and the window openings are intentionally placed, there is no real rear of this building. All four sides, all four elevations have been designed harmoniously to have this one architectural vision in and of itself. And even the people that are driving by it on the road that see it will see something, I believe, that has been intentionally, crafted from all angles. So the renderings, I think, show that the applicant has done the best that they can and have succeeded, frankly, in minimizing the view sheds from the adjacent neighborhoods. As I said, this has been designed in the round. And then in terms of mitigating the impacts on the water quality of the Occoquan Reservoir, I am satisfied with their testimony about hiring a well consultant, complying with Fairfax County and state requirements and the tests that will be conducted. I am satisfied with the treatment of the existing structures on the site, that their storm water will be mitigated. And I also appreciate that they could have demolished existing buildings, potentially to, increase their open space, but they chose to adaptively reuse useful structures and keeping, waste out of the landfill and minimizing some of their construction impacts. I appreciate that as well. So for these reasons, I think that they have, met all of the requirements that we have in place to approve this special permit. I would, as part of my motion, suggest amendments to the development conditions for number 13. I would propose, as part of my approval, which we'll see if it gets a second in a vote, to amend number 13 to require the creation of a parking management plan to be, we'll say, to be reviewed like at the time of site plan, and to require on-site traffic controls for special events, for weddings, for funerals, and for special holiday events. And also, as part of 13, to add Anderson and Ruby to the roads where parking would be prohibited at all times. I would also add a condition to prohibit the use of outdoor speakers, PA systems, or live music outdoors. And all of that concludes my motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Tanner.
Actually, I do agree with all of the recommendations and the justification that Ms. Ballard had brought up to. I especially like the adjustments to development condition 13, because it addressed a lot of the concerns that I had in terms of the traffic, the flow, and parking in the other outsiding neighborhoods. I do appreciate you put site plan as a good form, like a timeline, so that we have a target, as opposed to something that's just kind of ambiguous. So I do appreciate all those changes, and I will be supporting this motion as well. Thank you.
I don't have a problem pushing or deferring it because it is a big project, but I also don't have an issue with moving forward, and that it's going to undergo review for the stormwater issues. I guess I was able to see a distinction between this and that Pope's Head case as to the wetlands issue. This one didn't show up the same on the maps for me. But given that, so I don't know about the owls and stuff like that. I think that the development conditions have built in different points where this is going to be reviewed by specialists, the health department as onto the water, or the well, rather. It's got the best management or best practices in the stormwater management. So I was, and then Ms. Ballo amended her proposed amendment to the development conditions to further address the traffic concerns. And the fact that this has been going on for some time, staff and the applicant have been working together for a long time. It's been deferred several times before even coming to us, which I think spruced, for lack of a better word, up the application that was presented. So I would support the motion.
Further discussion on the motion. Seeing none, we will move to a vote. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Board Member Amanoff?
Aye.
Board Member Ballo?
Aye.
Board Member Day?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Hart?
Aye.
Board Member Tanner.
Aye.
It's a vote of 5 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, thank you. The motion carries. The application is approved.